Let's talk about writing decimals in tenths and hundredths. So some of this will be pretty straightforward. Like, for example, if we had, let's first of all talk about just writing it as tenths. So if we had 6/10, well, how many tenths are in 6/10? That one's pretty straightforward, right? There are 6/10 in 6/10. But if we had 1 and 7/10, we have to figure out how many tenths are in 1 and 7/10. Well, we know there's for sure 7, right? But how many tenths would be in one whole? Well, we know that 10/10 would equal one whole, correct? Because 10 over 10 is equal to 1. We talked about whenever the numerator and the denominator are the same, that's one whole. So that would be 10/10 plus the 7/10 that we had up here. So that would be 17/10. So how many tenths are in 1 and 7/10? There are 17/10. Now let's change and look at hundredths. If we had, here's the decimal, 4 hundredths. How many hundredths are in 4 hundredths? Pretty easy, right? Just 4. There's 4 hundredths in 4 hundredths. But what if we have 2 and 5 hundredths? How many hundredths would be in 2 and 5 hundredths? Oh, and look, I have 2 and 5 tenths. Let's try that again. 2 and, there we go, 2 and 5 hundredths. Now we have 5 hundredths. So we know that there are 5 hundredths in this part, but how many hundredths are in these two wholes? Well, we have 100 hundredths, that's one whole, plus another 100 hundredths, that's two wholes. So 100, 200, 205 hundredths. So how many hundredths are in 2 and 5 hundredths? There's 205 hundredths in 2 and 5 hundredths.